And a cooler day today. Temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. That nice wind coming in off the water, but it's also brought some clouds and a few sprinkles and showers. We've been tracking those all afternoon on radar. Most of the activity has been across central Virginia and North Carolina. A few of those have worked their way eastward. And as we set everything in motion, you can see that slight eastward progress. A few sprinkles and a few showers down towards Bertie County. A couple of showers popping up off the outer banks of North Carolina. So we'll call for an isolated shower this evening. A little bit of a better chance for some showers later tonight, and you can see why here on the wider view. Might even, if you look closely, see a little bit of a swirl in here. That's a weak area of low pressure that's moving just along the state line, along the stalled front that's been across the Carolinas for the past few days. And every once in a while, one of these little waves of low pressure will move along that front. And we'll see one move through this evening and another one later tonight. And that's when we could see a few more isolated showers and a little bit of an unsettled day tomorrow. And then the heat really gets cranking later this week and into the weekend. So futurecast showing those easterly winds through the rest of the evening. Fairly cloudy skies for the south side of North Carolina. We have seen a little more sunshine breaking through the clouds off towards the north. But as we go through the rest of the evening, again, an isolated shower or two in a few spots. A little bit of a better chance later tonight and into tomorrow morning. That's where we'll start things off at 6 a.m. Fairly cloudy skies. Notice a few showers showing up, and through much of the day, we'll see a chance of a shower or two in parts of the area. It's not going to rain all day. It's not going to be a washout tomorrow, but there will be a few of these showers popping up from time to time. And notice temperatures still in the low 80s. Another weak area of low pressure moves through tomorrow night, giving us another chance at a few showers. And then by Wednesday, or Thursday rather, that's when those winds will really start to switch around towards the south, and that'll push those temperatures up very quickly into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees by noon. Temperatures in the low to mid 90s. And when you factor in that heat and humidity, there will be a chance of an isolated shower or two as we go through the day Thursday, about a 10 to 15% chance. And that's the first of several days that we'll see those temperatures well into the 90s. Outside right now, we've got fairly cloudy skies, a little peak of blue every once in a while from time to time. This is our camera on top of Nauticus looking across the Elizabeth River. 78 degrees easterly winds at 10 miles per hour. It's 76 in Virginia Beach, 77 in Williamsburg, Elizabeth City, 77 in Chesapeake, and 81 up at Tangier Island. So for tonight, fairly cloudy skies, isolated sprinkles early and isolated showers later tonight. 71 for a low and 84 tomorrow. Variably cloudy skies, meaning at times there'll be a little more sunshine, other times a few more clouds with isolated to scattered showers. Linger into the evening. 74 tomorrow night, and then 93 hot and humid on Thursday, the first of several days in the 90s. 91 Friday, 93 Saturday and Sunday, 94 Monday, and 92 on Tuesday. Hot and humid right through the weekend and for the start of July.